has ever refused to appear in the court. This is being seen on television screen or being witnessed by everyone almost for last so many weeks that Imran refuses to appear in the court on different pretexts, security reasons or reasons of being a victim or so this is and then his appearance in the court is accepted while he's still sitting in the car, and he actually attacks the courts, or the courts are mobbed by his supporters. Whenever he appears in the court is intimidated. They come under pressure, they face threats, and when police is sent to his residence to arrest him and produce him in the court, the police is attacked with Molotov cocktail, firing, and at least 70 to 80 police officers, senior police officers including, who were injured trying to arrest him. There was a pitched battle outside his house. So this has never happened in Pakistan. During his regime and in the past also, opposition workers, leaders were arrested, and they always surrendered in a very graceful manner, in a dignified manner as political workers to whatever victimization was taking place. They never physically contested their arrest, never abused or maligned the courts. In last 4 years of his rule, when he was the Prime Minister, almost the whole of top leadership of pmln was arrested. Our leader, Nawaz Sharif, was arrested. He came back from UK to surrender. His daughter was arrested. The present Prime Minister was arrested. His son was arrested. Their nephews were arrested.
जबकि दूसरी जाने पाकिस्तान तहरीक इंसाफ के रहनुमा फवाद चौधरी मीडिया से गुफ्तगू कर रहे हैं।
अभी दायर हो रही है, मैं अभी आपको कॉपीज भी भिजवा दूंगा। अल्लाह ताला उस मसले को भी एंड तक ले। सर, एक ये सोशल मीडिया पे अफवाह चल रही है या खबर चल रही है कि ज़मान पार्क से कोई 50 करोड़ के चोरी रुके हैं, इस तरह। ये आपके कोर्ट रिपोर्टर साहब हैं, उन्होंने दिया है, उनको आप लोगों को पता है, उसको पता ही नहीं ज़मान पार्क में बेसमेंट ही नहीं है।
एक बार फिर देखिए वज़ीर दिफा ख्वाजा आसिफ की मीडिया से गुफ्तगू।
Almost 3 years, my wife, my son. So the victimization of the opposition was unprecedented. We have checkered history, political history of in our country, where politicians were victimized during martial laws, during military governments, but this sort of victimization and hounding was never there. Politicians were hanged. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was hanged. It was a judicial murder. Bibi was martyred by Benazir Bhutto was martyred by the terrorists. Nawaz Sharif was removed from government thrice. But we never resorted to the methods or sort of things which are taking place have taken place in last 3-4 weeks, violating the law, violating the constitution. So we are actually governing this country the present government under circumstances which are pretty difficult, both administratively speaking, financially speaking, and obviously, ultimately, politically speaking also. So this is a backdrop in which we are at the moment governing the country and trying to give the best. We do realize that the political capital we had when we took over, or when we moved the vote of no confidence, over the period it has depleted. We have paid a cost. We had the option of, after the dissolution of the assembly or after the vote of no confidence, to dissolve the assembly and call for new elections. But we were in the middle of a negotiating arrangement with the IMF, and interim government perhaps could not do that as effectively as a government in power, elected government in power. So that was a difficult decision, and we decided to risk our political capital and stay in the government despite the fact that we knew the risk of losing the political capital is there or was there. Even today, we are trying to manage the situation, and every day there is a crisis precipitated by Imran Khan, and we are handling it. And inshallah, we'll come out of it successfully. And governance in the coming days, coming weeks, coming months, the economic situation, all these things which are the moment at peril will improve, inshallah.
I'm CNN. Assalamualaikum, I'm the Pakistan producer for CNN. I think from the video that we've just seen, and from a lot of videos that we're seeing generally from people on social media, there's clearly a lot of civil unrest in this country. My question is, Imran Khan had tweeted on Tuesday night in the midst of all that chaos that he's willing to engage in talks. And I recall the Prime Minister had also said on Monday, and I know a lot has happened since then, Monday the 13th, that he was willing to engage in some semblance of talks. Again, a lot has happened since then, but is there a reluctance on the PTI side, or is it from the government side? Is there any possibility whatsoever that talks can take place at all with all of the political stakeholders as of right now?
Thank you. Since last 1 year, and even when he was in power, we made an offer of building up some sort of consensus, at least on our economic policies. Now that offer was rejected and spurned by the then Prime Minister. During last 1 year, he has offered to talk several times with the establishment, with the military leadership, but not the political leadership. That is one. Despite the fact that opposition or the present government was willing to talk on so many occasions in last 1 year, but he kept on insisting and went to the extent of that time trying to approach the present leadership of Pakistan Army, and they are not responding. I want to talk to them, I want to meet them. And before that, he spoke to or approached through the President, General Bajwa, met him twice, tried to negotiate with him, even offered him extension for life. It is on record. Despite all that, he has not materially offered anything to the present government for a dialogue or for some sort of negotiations on. I'll just add one thing to it. We are ready to talk for the sake of peace in our country, for sake of not for only the present government, but the coming generations, that we must have some sort of consensus on major issues which we are facing for last so many decades. We are not in favor of a transactional dialogue. We need something which is comprehensive, which covers everything. There are so many issues. One can debate on that and have perhaps a long debate on that. But in short, what I'm trying to say is that a comprehensive dialogue on the problems Pakistan is facing is always welcome. But transactional dialogue, which address the issues this nation is facing today, and progressive dialogue, yes. A transactional dialogue, it will be a waste of time.
Thank you. Minister Asif, Dina D from National Public Radio. As you may be aware, Mr. Khan has made multiple interviews to Western media in particular to project his point of view on what's been happening in Pakistan. I'd love to just get your responses to some of the claims that he's made. First, he is claiming that the government is seeking to outlaw him, a claim that was echoed, to disqualify him, a claim that was echoed by Zalmay Khalilzad on Twitter.
Disqualify him?
To disqualify him
okay.
directly. He also alleges that there's even attempts to kill him or plans to kill him. I would love to get your responses on that. And just on holding the federal elections, is there a plan to hold the federal elections on time? And my final question, bear with me, is are you concerned that the political tensions now could spiral into more extensive or more violent clashes in the coming weeks or months, based on the very videos that you have aired right now?
It's a bit lengthy question, you know.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Let's hope I can keep track of it. Violence, yes, there is every possibility that this violence can, escalate and get into an ugly situation. We are aware of that. That risk is always there, because Imran Khan is a desperate man. He has demonstrated the violence of the sort which we have witnessed in the last few weeks. This has never happened in Pakistan. Violence has taken place during the military regimes, during General Zia regime, and before that during Ayub Khan's regime. But political governments have never resorted to violence against their opponents. Yes, there are victimization and cases and imprisonment, but this sort of violence from an opposition party, organized violence against the state machinery. So this is something which is unprecedented in our history, despite the problems we have had over the last 75 years. But this can spiral into something obviously ugly, and but government has the power and the will to control any violence which is triggered by Imran Khan and his supporters. Coming to his allegation that IG Islamabad or IG Punjab or Chief Minister Punjab, they are conspiring to murder him. This whole thing is so scandalous. This allegation. He's just trying to create some sort of atmosphere where his followers are ready to believe anything he says. You know, it's like a cult. You know, the world has witnessed over decades and centuries where people have, the leaders have created cult and and people have followed them blindly, believing everything they say. So this sort of cult following is here in Pakistan also these days, but this will fizzle out, and this allegation of conspiring to murder him, I think this is stretching a bit too far. The sort of lies he has been fabricating over the last 1 year, starting with Cypher. I'll again say that on one hand he's he was accusing General Bajwa of conspiring against him or aiding his opponents, and on the other hand he was offering him extension for life, and then accusing the United States of America of conspiring against him, taking even names, and now he's again flirting with the American government through lobbyists and approaching them for some sort of intervention or some sort of aid or help, because they are being victimized, so-called victimization of PTI in Pakistan. So he'll tell you one thing today, and tomorrow he'll tell you something which is diagonally opposite, completely opposite, So his utterances are completely irrational. Perhaps his followers do believe whatever he says, but most of the people have lost track of what he has been saying over the last 1 year.
Voice of America.
She had a third question, whether the government does plan to hold the national elections.
Obviously, national elections are due in October, and they will be held on time.
Now I will follow up on that question. They were due also on the 30th of April.
And there were no national elections, provincial elections.
Punjab provincial elections were due on 30th of April. Then
the CN has been taken by the Election Commission. They are, according to the Constitution, that is the body which is supposed to hold the elections and empowered to hold elections.
So that very order has been called into serious question. The IMF has rejected the claim that it has anything to do with holding of any constitutional practice in Pakistan, like holding of the Punjab elections, number one.
IMF?
Yeah.
No, I'm not aware of it.
They gave a press release.
Because this is a factor mentioned in the election order, that because of the understanding with the IMF, the government is unable to provide funding for the elections. That's number one. Number two, the prevailing law and order situation was cited in the Election Commission order. And in that order, the briefing about the security was given to the Election Commission on February 8th. And the incident cited in that briefing happened a week later on February 16th, the Jaffa Express bombing. So there are serious anomalies in this election order, and you're still defending it.
No, but let me, since February, in last 1 month or couple of months, the security situation has definitely deteriorated, We lost a senior army officer day before yesterday to terrorism. The terror incidents have increased. They have escalated over the last 2-3 months. So that's not something, the evidence is there. That's not something which is something of our imagination or something which we have concocted or invented, So security situation is there. I'm not aware of them, but definitely I'm aware of the fact that Ministry of Finance said that under the present circumstances, we are going through some very tough time, financially speaking. So we will not be able to provide funds for elections, which are, if you hold these elections now on 30th of April, and then again in October. So you are providing funds for the elections twice in a year. Secondly, the commitment which our army has at the moment because of the internal and external threats, they said that deployment for almost 1 month. It takes about a month to deploy forces for elections on polling stations, and especially the static duty. They have to take over the polling stations as it happened in 2018. You know, they manage the polling station. So that sort of duty, they showed their inability to man the polling stations. So these 3-4 reasons were stated by the Election Commission, and these reasons were given to them by the federal government. And based on these reasons, they have decided.
तो नजर आ रहा है सामने लिखा हुआ है जुल्म मिटने के लिए 2 चीजों से मिटेगा भाई। एक, अदल की कुर्सी पे जो लोग बैठते हैं ना, वो अदल के हिसाब से फैसले करने लगे। दूसरा, कौम निकल खड़ेगी उस जुल्म के खिलाफ, तो जुल्म खत्म हो जाएगा। या इन दोनों में से कोई एक चीज हो जाए या दोनों हो जाए। अगर 420 का मुकदमा था, उस वक्त अदलिया में जो लोग बैठे हुए केस देख रहे थे, वो पूछते ना यार चीट हुआ कौन है। जब उनको दिखता कोई चीट नहीं हुआ, केस खत्म कर देते। तो जालिम जुल्म कर ही नहीं पाता। 9 जजेस ने नोट बिफोर किया मेरे केस को यार, 1.5 साल चला। शख्सी जमानत का केस, सेम केस इस्लामाबाद में कर दिया। एक ही इल्जाम पे 2 केस हो नहीं सकते भाई। मतलब 60 दिन का वक्त होता है, 102 दिन के बाद मैं जीत गया, केस बरी हो गया, 102 दिन के बाद अपील फाइल की, एक्सेप्ट कर ली। नहीं करते ना एक्सेप्ट, खत्म हो जाता ना जुल्म यार। भरी अदालत में मुझे बरी कर दिया, फिर पता नहीं क्या हुआ, 2.5 घंटे बाद का नोट बिफोर, मैं नहीं सुनता ये केस। खड़े रहते अपने फैसले पे, मिट जाता जुल्म। अल्लाह ताला ने बिठाया इन कुर्सियों पे इनको यार, ये अल्लाह ताला की तरफ से फैसले करने हैं। तो या तो ये फैसले आएंगे, जुल्म मिट जाएगा, या कौम खड़ी हो जाएगी जुल्म के खिलाफ।
रहमत का महीना आ गया है, बख्शिश का सफीना आ गया। होगी मुलाकात उलमाए दीन से, जो देंगे इत्तेहाद बैनुल मसालिकीन का दर्स। जिक्र होगा अंबियाए कराम, रमज़ान की स्पेशल ट्रांसमिशन रमज़ान में।
सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल दबाएं ताकि कोई खबर रह न जाए।